Yo, what's up guys? This is Rise and welcome to another video where I'll be showcasing a team that I used to run for multiple seasons in the Master League Premier Classic, and I still run it to this day, and we're trying out again. It is Haxorus Double Steel with Haxorus, Metagross, and Magnezone. I do have a Hundo Metagross and Hundo Magnezone, but although it's preferred in the Master League, it's not necessarily a must. As close you can get to a Hundo is probably what you're looking for, with 15 attack being the most important out of the three stats. So Haxorus Double Steel, the reason I really like it is because Haxorus is a solid core breaker for a lot of teams, does really well against things that are weak to counter, of course, things that are weak to fighting, like Excadrill, Mamoswine, opposing Magnezone, has that Night Slash coverage for Metagross, or any psychic types you might see, and then Dragon Claw coverage for the dragons. Now, this team can get a little RPS'd. The toughest line you might see for this team would be something like Togekiss, Gyarados to counter your Metagross safe swap, and then an Excadrill and back. In that case, there's really nothing you can do. However, if you can lure, let's say you lead against the Togekiss, you swap Metagross, and you lure out the Excadrill, sometimes there's still play there, because you can reach the Earthquake, take a drill run, get a shield advantage, counter down with Haxorus, and then hopefully there's something like a Dragonite or a Snorlaxin back, and Magnezone up a shield might be able to sweep. So without further ado, this is the team. I think the Master League Premier Classic can get a little bit RPS at times, but this team has enough ABB type play where sometimes you can overcome that. You'll see here in game one an example of what I kind of just talked about. We get a Charm lead. We do have two steel types, so this really comes down to what's in back. And I play this matchup pretty much the same every time. I'm only getting to one move here, so I just go for the Earthquake. I grab a shield, and I realized I had Dragon Tail. You want counter. You want counter, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, this happened on stream. Amazing way to start the video. A little bit of a blooper to start the video. Just so you know, you guys know, I lose games very carelessly sometimes in the Go Battle League, but it should be about having fun first, right? And then secondary, trying to be competitive and win as much as possible. But now, Pacmo is the next opponent. Did we TM it? It's tough to tell. Did we TM it? I mean, what else would we have done in the menu there? But here we come against the Shadow Waterfall Gyarados, which is actually a little bit annoying for our Magnezone. I did get the attack drop, so I wasn't sure. Maybe I could have tanked a move there. It would probably, if it was an Aqua Tail, could have lived it. Crunch might have been cutting it close. But it's okay. We commit a shield, but we're probably going to at least get a shield back here with double Wild Charge against the Snorlax. Just going to get these off right away. Nothing fancy. After I double up, of course. And we're able to do some really heavy chip damage there against the Snorlax. We do have counter on our Haxorus. And we're going to eat a move here. Haxorus is frail, so it doesn't appreciate that move. And here's an important situation. I'll pause it real quick, where Dragonite swaps in, and you see I Dragon Claw with Hax, and then I'm going to go Metagross. If I had swapped Metagross behind Energy, Dragonite's going to get off 2 superpowers before I can get off 2 Meteor Mashes, and that's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. So I decided to get my Claw, which I assumed would have to force the shield, and then Metagross can safely land the Meteor Mash. So let's see what happens here. But they don't shield, but this works too, right? This works too. Because now I can just bullet punch down. And I decide a superpower from Dragonite might be the hardest move I'd eat at this point. Harder than a superpower from Snorlax. So we should be in a good spot. I do think if I had swapped Metagross without throwing that Dragon Claw, things might have been a little bit more difficult there in the end game. And yeah, I've been running this team on and off again lately, and I'm telling you, I've had some amazing wins. I've had some just completely awful losses where I've misplayed. I had one against my buddy shady equation today. And I had to message him after. And I was like, bro, like, I can't believe I did that. Just like a total throw of the game. But I'm going to blame it on the travel. I just got back today. I was a little bit sleep deprived from a very fun weekend in Toronto. Visited Mr. King IV and lots of other friends for a special event. And now we are here, back in action, as Haxorus is against the Machamp. And this matchup is pretty neutral. Haxorus is a little bit like higher CP. However, Machamp does get same type attack bonus on these counters. So it usually winds up like this, a simultaneous KO. And then we're just going to wait out our timer. I decided to come in Magnezone because I thought Gyarados might be something that comes in as like a sort of safe swap. But in comes the Snorlax. And I don't know what's in back, so I decided to just Wild Charge and dip. I feel like Metagross can... Now I don't really have to shield a superpower. And there's a Walrein in the back. There is a Walrein in the back. You do not see Walrein too often in Master. But props to this trainer for running it. It's actually... Who would have thought Walrein being a spice pick now in this league at least. I decide if he Earthquakes here, I feel like I can probably Spark down before he gets off another Earthquake. And he doesn't even get off a Spear, which is pretty nice. And at this point, I can simply just double Wild Charge before he's going to get to double Superpower. So we shield a Body Slam. Really no reason not to shield. I think a Superpower... I might have actually been able to take a Superpower there, so... Maybe I could have let it go through, but I think the safe play there is to simply shield, because he wasn't going to get to a bait and then a Superpower anyway. So sometimes you just got to think about it, like, what's my win con, what's my lose con? Just make the simple plays, which is sometimes something I struggle with as well. Sometimes I overthink things. I'm like, what if he is going to catch here? What if he's trying to lure this out, has this in the back? But sometimes you just got to make the simple play. Think simply. Hacks into Metagross. Good lead. In comes the Dragonite safe swap, which is very awkward now with Dragonite having superpower. Before, I would probably be comfortable just coming in Metagross right away. However, Dragonite now with superpower, it makes it uncomfortable. And look at this. They actually bait me with Dragon Claw. Very smart, right? This trainer's thinking, okay, he's probably going to shield the first one because he knows a superpower the first time will do more damage. However, they make a really smart bait there to get my shield and then dish out a non-debuffed superpower. In comes the opposing Metagross. I'm going to go straight for the Earthquake here. I figure I might as well, because even if he shields, he's still going to have to expend energy here. But he's actually not. He's going to be willing to double shield, it appears. And then farm me all the way down. So this is a little scary. So now I got to be creative, right? This is a lot of threatening energy that this Metagross has on us. So I'm going to do a show and go. I'm going to show the hacks and swap Magnezone. And we're going to catch a double resisted Meteor Mash. Bop. And now it just comes down to what's in back. So I kind of have to respect this. An Earthquake would obviously be lethal. Just going to get rid of this right away. And then this comes down to what's in back. We are shieldless now. And our Magnezone is debuffed. So it's a little bit scary, but it's a Gyarados. Perfect. This is something we can certainly one-shot with the Wild Charge. Get in the zone. Magnezone with the one-shot. And it's just such a good sweeper, man. Especially when there's no ground type, obviously. Like, the three hardest counters you're going to see for it are Excadrill being the most common, and then the occasional Garchomp or Swampert. So, yeah, those are not Pokemon that Mr. Magnezone wants to see. They just completely hard wall it. But Magnezone double resisting those Bullet Punches and Meteor Mash from Metagross, I feel like that's a pretty good matchup. And then, of course, Gyarados, you're dealing out double super effective damage. So Dragon Breath Gyarados is pretty comfortable for Magnezone. However, Waterfall Gyarados can be tricky, right? Because those Waterfalls do add up with Magnezone's frailty. And if you debuff yourself and they shield the wild charge, it suddenly becomes kind of uncomfortable. So this is where we kind of have to see the Excadrill. And the game I talked to you guys about that I totally threw against Shady Equation, my buddy, was there was an Excadrill lead. You're going to see me throw Night Slash here so I don't have to take another drill run. This person will have to shield if they want to get off this, so they let it go. In comes a Fairy, so I'm going to swap. I lure out a Waterfall Gyarados, which isn't great, but now I still have my Magnezone for the Premature, so... and I still have my Haxorus to take care of this Gyarados, whatever's left of it after Metagross goes down, rather than just letting my Haxorus kind of go to waste against that Premature. So now I've got some nice energy loaded up to threaten this Gyarados. Just going to throw here right away, nothing fancy. Hax has already served its purpose as just putting in overtime right now. And we actually got both shields. And we're able to win because they know it's over. Once they see Magnezone is up a shield, G to the G. But as I was saying, the game against my buddy Shady Equation, he led Excadrill into my Haxorus. He swapped a Togekiss. And in my head, I had just this unconscious reaction of, if he's swapping Togekiss, he must have something in back where he's trying to lure out Metagross. So I swapped my Magnezone into Togekiss, and someone else might have a different thought process there. If they swapped Magnezone, they might have the thought process that, well, Magnezone's dead weight against Excadrill anyway. So I'm going to swap in my Magnezone. That way I can beat the Togekiss, and then I still have something that doesn't get walled by Excadrill. However, there's literally zero reason to ever swap Magnezone in that situation, because if you swap in Metagross, you can overfarm so much that you're also going to have energy to threaten the Excadrill with an Earthquake. So literally zero reason. Also, because once the Magnezone takes out Togekiss, Excadrill can just simply farm down. So I was like I was upset at myself. Literally zero reason to make the play I did. But anyway, we can all make fun of Rise another time. Let's commentate the battle. Dragonclaw here against Walrein. Dragonclaw is going to do more damage, right? So I recommend going for it when you need your charge moves to threaten to KO something. And look, that Dragonclaw, check out what happens. So I throw Dragonclaw first. He's at pretty much 1 HP, so I Night Slash here. And he shields, and he gets KO'd through the shield. So that works out as best as I could have asked for. In comes a Waterfall Gyarados. So I am perfectly content just letting my Haxorus go down here. Doing some chip damage. And this way we can hopefully spark down with Magnezone. The only concern here would be like an Excadrill in back. And I will let you guys know that is one flaw with this team, is if you stay in the lead and then you let your Haxorus go down and there's an Excadrill in back, that's going to be very tough to overcome. So you kind of just have to read it by the team comp, right? In the lead, if there's like a Charmer, you very well might know there's an Excadrill in back. Obviously, you'd be switching out anyway in that circumstance. But maybe if it's a more neutral lead, right? Maybe if it's like a Mamoswine or a Waterfall Gyarados, Excadrill could be possible in the back. So we shield the Earthquake. Pretty straightforward from here. Just going to farm down. And we've got a move ready to go. And we're going to Earthquake the Gyarados. Have some fun. Earthquake the Flyer. It knocks it out. And we get the dub. Way up we go. Been up and down that road. Way up, oh no. I've got some AJR in the ears. Burn the House Down. It's a good song. Not the best vocals from Rise. Even normally, don't have the best singing vocals in the world, but I think from traveling, my voice is a little I talked about this on a previous video. You ever feel like your voice sometimes is like different? Like some days my voice feels like higher and some days it feels like deeper, like more rough. Today it feels like more deep and rough. Anyway, next opponent, Hax. So against Gyarados leads, right? I stay in to see if it's Dragon Breath or Waterfall. If it's Waterfall, Haxorus actually wins that, so you can stay in. If it's Dragon Breath, I kind of have to swap out to lure out something like this, an Excadrill. This is going to play out the way it's going to play out. And then we're going to go straight Earthquake, grab a shield. I come in Hax, a little bit of lag here. Oh, no. Oh, no, our opponent's lagging. Let's see if we would have won, though. Let's see if we would have won anyway. So I'm going to go Claw here. Or does our opponent still win? What's in back? It's a Snorlax. So this would have been a lot closer, probably. Lot closer if our opponent had not lagged. Because he would have got off at least one drill run and potentially 2 drill runs against our Haxorus, depending on how I played it. But our Magnezone still likely would have been up a shield. So going to go for the Wild Charge here. Takes out Lax, and at this point, we're in a fine spot. I can just go straight Mirror Shot, so yeah. So pretty dominant. However, if our opponent hadn't lagged there, they definitely still had win con, so that kind of stinks. Lag giveth and lag taketh. We've lost lots of games due to lag, unfortunately. And this was one where, unfortunately, our opponent was on the wrong side of it. And always feels bad to get a win when you know you didn't necessarily earn it. Opponent very much could have won, still had play in that game, barring the lag. So I don't think it was like a guaranteed win for them. I think there was still, I think it was pretty 50-50. But it probably comes down to whether they pull a shield from my Hax. I wouldn't have shielded the first one. And then, like, would I have been able to get off a Night Slash or counter down before they got to that second drill run? I'm not sure. Another Gyarados lead here. So let's see what fast move it has. Waterfall. So, and that's something you learn with time, right? Because I know that's not easy for everybody, like to make that reaction. But within my first counter, I can tell whether it's Dragon Breath or Waterfall. So I think that's a really key thing to work on, where I see some people struggle, is like you need to be able to swapping quickly is such a crucial and critical part of this game, and not giving your opponent energy lead unnecessarily. So being able to do one counter there and recognize after one counter, which is the equivalent of 1 second, is this Dragon Breath? Swap Metagross. Is this Waterfall? Stay in. That's so critical, because if it's Dragon Breath and it takes me 3 counters to realize, well, then my Haxorus is already chipped like a third of its health, and then my Metagross is behind way energy against the Gyarados that learns Crunch. So that's why it's important to be really as fast as you can be on those reactions. And I mean, that's something I can still work on too, right? Something that sometimes I can be a little slow on the swap. Here, I think is a bit of a mistake throwing this Claw. This is kind of just like a panic, like, oh, Ice Fang's doing a lot of damage. I need to throw my move to think for a sec. So I was just saying, right, like being able to react quickly, that's a situation where I should have reacted quicker and just gone Metagross straight away. But we do get a big farm down. I'm just going to blind throw Mash here. And it's actually a Togekiss. I was not expecting this. Not expecting this. Like a slight undercharge here to get some farm. It actually works out, because now Gary gets less farm on me. However, oh, yeah, we're earthquaking because we know we're in a winning position here. And then we swap Zone. 2 Sparks does the trick. Magnezone with a pretty easy job. His teammates set him up. They just set Zone up with the lob, and Zone spiked it down. We've got a Spike Ball team here. Haxorus, Metagross, Magnezone. I mean, based on their body types, I feel like Haxorus is really the only one that would be a good volleyball player. He'd be pretty OP, man. I don't know how tall Haxorus is. Let me know in the comments. Look it up. How tall is Haxorus? You'd be surprised, by the way. There are some Pokemon that are a lot bigger than you would think. Noctowl is like nearly 6 feet tall, I'm sure. I think Noctowl is like kind of cool, kind of wise looking, kind of cute. But like, bro, could you imagine a 6 foot tall owl? That would be terrifying. That'd be horrifying, dude. I'd be so scared. Oh, Dunebug. Insanely good battler is Dunebug. As we all know, we have a good lead here. So once again, we're going to chip here or get a shield. And Dunebug elects to shield. And I'm going to throw my mash here. I'm going to elect to let this... Oh, no, actually shield the superpower. Interesting. And here, I remember this how this game goes. So here's where I make a critical error. I should have undercharged that more. By not undercharging that, and also by not getting off a Meteor Mash here, I end up putting myself in a very tricky predicament where I'm going to be the one that has to go down shields. Because I can't let Hax go, right? I can't let Hax go. I need my zone to avoid this. And I have to swap here. So this becomes very awkward. I build up as much energy as possible. Also could have undercharged here. But not by much, right? Because Togekiss was approaching a move. I get off a wild charge here. And I'm going to go for a Mirror Shot. I'm hoping to get the shield. And maybe Haxorus can get off a move. I grab the last shield. But Excadrill gets to the move first. And Dunebug's going to win a very impressive win for him after he got kind of semi-hard countered. But just shows how effective Dragonite is a swap. So things I could have done differently this game. There was quite a few things I could have done differently. I think the chip on the Dragonite, it was still the right play. Instead of going Metagross straight away. Here's the first thing I could have done differently when we rewind. I also didn't need to shield that. I didn't need to shield that. I should have like done this much damage. Like I should have, because I shielded. I think it's like an either or, right? Like either I no shield and I don't bother undercharging because my Metagross has been chipped, or I shield because I know I need switch advantage and I undercharge because look how healthy I am. Like let's say he gets to another superpower because of my undercharge. Who cares? Superpower isn't threatening to me after the debuff. So that's one thing where I really messed up in the mid game. And then in the end game here, one thing I actually could have done differently is store a move on my Haxorus. So it's just kind of a reaction, right? You see the Togekiss against your Haxorus and you're like, I got to get out of here. I got to get into Magnezone. However, if I had done one more counter here, stored the Night Slash, I would have ended up winning charge move priority later in the game against the Excadrill. So there were two things there I could have done differently to win that game. And that's important, man. It's important identifying your mistakes and what you could have done better to win some games. And there was certainly a lot of play for me there where I just got outplayed by Dunebug. So GG's to him. Searching for the next opponent. Who's next? What's that? What was that like? That trend that was going on. People are like dancing and then it goes, who's next? Anyway. I bet at least one person watching this video knows what I'm talking about from that very articulate and specific explanation. If not, Rise is officially crazy. I'm officially a crazy person. A little bit of queue time action for y'all. Very entertaining. Searching for opponent hype. And here we go. Zero Pogo XL. Interesting name. Metagross. Good lead for Haxorus. Whoa. Okay, so like Interesting that I decide to play this so much differently than I played in the past. I don't know why. I don't know why per se. I also got baited by Kloss. This is like not good already. Dude, what is going on? This is like this. That was such a fast swap to zone. That was like boom, boom. It's the same thing that happened against Shady. Like, what am I thinking? It's like some sort of subconscious like swap zone immediately. We do get a nice farm down because of our undercharge, so at least that's kind of nice. In comes Metagross. I could have potentially baited here. I feel like they're always going to shield the first one here, so this would have been a really smart bait. Oh, could you imagine? I wonder if I would have got to 2 charges if I baited. But at this point, it looks like I'm only going to get to 1 move, so I just go for the charge. And this becomes super awkward, dude. Metagross up a shield is so devastating. I tried for the show and go, and I literally just top left because I just get one shot by Earthquake, and the Metagross had so much energy. I get one shot there by Earthquake, I get taken out by a Meteor Mash, so the Metagross likely just sweeps my back line, and he still had a third fully healthy Pokemon with a shield, so I don't think that was a premature top left, to be honest, even if it appeared to be that way. I don't think that was premature. I think that game was signed, sealed, and delivered. And it was yours, opponent. That game was yours. We claim our set, and I think we got one more battle. Here at the end, I cut it real quick. One more battle from the next set. Positive lead here against Excadrill. Swap Gyarados. So this is like pretty hard counter for us. And here you just got to be careful, right? You can't get too greedy here against Gyarados. You can't farm it all the way down. Otherwise, it's going to get off 2 moves against you. So you do eventually want to throw your Wild Charge. Or Mirror Shot maybe. Or Mirror Shot for some chip and then you get the farm down. It's kind of a judgment call. We know that Excadrill's coming. So I'm just going to Wild Charge it to debuff myself. And hopefully get Mudshot down a little bit faster. So Excadrill gets 4 Mudshots, which isn't great for me. Because as you're going to see here, Drill Run does quite a bit to Hax if I decide to let this go. Drill Run really chunks. And it's a Dragonite in back. So this is pretty awkward, man. I don't know if we win this, actually. This is very awkward. It really comes down to, like, this first bait call. This first bait call is so critical. Because if I get Clawed here, I might win. But I get freaking Hurricane, dude. Who in their right mind? I remember this game now. Who in their right mind would Hurricane there? Then I go for the Mash. But I am only 1 counter away from Claw. And he throws his move, which I think is a mistake. I think he should have just gone for fast move damage at this point. Because now I get off my Claw. And now it's a race if I can counter down the Excadrill. We go for the counter down. And we get to the Night Slash. So, right, we only took 1 Dragon Breath. We would have taken 3 Dragon Breaths from Dragonite. I'm pretty sure our opponent wins that if they had committed to fast moves. Obviously, he's got a lot of energy. It seems kind of counterintuitive to just commit to fast moves. So that's a really tough thing to see. And me in hindsight here, it's easier for me to say it, like analyzing the battle. But in the moment, I think he wins that if he just commits to fast moves. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. In conclusion, I think Haxorus Double Steal is still very effective in the Go Battle League, in the Master League Premier Classic. I'm still having a lot of fun using it. Haxorus is really unique. It's a little bit more common now that Axus have become, they've been in events and they're a little bit more accessible. So people have Axu and Haxorus now, but still kind of unique. Very glassy Pokemon, so it can be tricky to use. But I think this team definitely has a lot of play against a lot of teams. It does have the chance of being hard countered, as any team does sometimes. But it's a fun team for me, and it's going to be one of my go-to teams in the Master League for seasons to come, most likely. I do have 2 more MLPC videos from my own battles coming soon, and I'm going to be taking a look at my battle submissions and seeing if I have any there that I'd like to get out. But all that said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button. Comment down below. All comments help the algorithm, and subscribe if you are new to the channel. All that said, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.